Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Hello there and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I am, of course, Mr. Warren Hayes, and this is the Raw recap edition of a Raw recap show of the Raw after. This was, wow, this is a lot more difficult than I thought. Oh, you bananas. This is the Raw recap show for the Raw after WrestleMania, WrestleMania 35, which happened yesterday, April 7th. So today that means that's April 8th. And thank you for being here. Thank you. Oh, my camera, there we go. That's a little better. There we go. Just like that. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I'm just doing camera adjustments because I'm doing this live, right? I do this live on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. And just because I do this live, that means that there are people, actual, living, breathing individuals who decide, who figure it's like, you know what? I've got nothing better to do on a Monday night after wrestling than to come listen to some dude talk about wrestling, and I really appreciate that. We have a wonderful crop of people again here this evening with us. We have, of course, the lovely, the talented, the outrageous Kristen Ashley. We have the most handsome mod, Blaine, who's here as well. We have Mr. Fretz. Michael Stepney's here as well. Michael, there you go. We've got a good crew. We've got a good crew in this evening, and we always have a good crew here live. I mean, you maybe if you're watching this live, thank you, and remember to give the video a thumbs up. That always helps. And if you're watching it later, well, thank you as well. I mean, you know, and that's why video on demand exists. I don't expect you to maintain your schedule because of mine. You know, just to put everything into place so that you can absolutely, positively watch the Warren Hayes Show every time. That's why you can watch this at your leisure. But if you ever do want to come and check it out live at some point, I always do these about a half hour, or at least the Raw recap show. I do it at 11:30 p.m. every Monday night on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. And the chat is fantastic. It really is. It's very friendly, very cordial, very welcoming, lots of discussion. And a bit of silliness as well thrown in there, because it wouldn't be the Warren Hayes Show without a bit of goofy nuttiness, wouldn't you say? So that's it. And maybe you're not even watching this. Perhaps you're listening to this because the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is also available on all podcasting platforms, including but not exclusive to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, Himalaya. Go check those out. Enjoy and enjoy listening to my voice instead of watching me with all my tics and all my little nervous things that I do. I decided to put on a hoodie. Looks pretty nice, I think, with my Aleister Black t-shirt underneath. I think it looks good. I think it looks nice. And you see, if you'd be watching this right now, you'd be able to compliment me on my hoodie. You'd be able to say so. And I'm pretty sure some people like it. I'm pretty sure some people like it. All right. So, just before we move on, I want to cover some stuff, and I don't want to turn this into a 2-hour show. Tonight there'd be material to stretch this out, so I'm just gonna run through the plugs really quickly. It's really simple this week. It's not like WrestleMania week last week where I had something pretty much every day. Tomorrow is Tuesday. SmackDown Live recap will happen at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time again on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. So be sure that you come and check that out. And I promise tomorrow I won't tweet out the wrong links. Then on Wednesday, I do my 205 Live NXT UK recap show over on Fightful Select, the premium service of Fightful, which is your tip-top combat news sports website that you absolutely have to get into 100%. It has your wrestling, it has boxing, it has MMA, and then Fightful Select is the premium service. Starts at $5 a month. You can go check that out. There's a whole bunch of extra content, extra podcasts, such as my stuff, such as my retro reviews that I do with Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor. Sean also does the Fightful Report every Wednesday. There's Steven Jensen, who does the Weekender, which covers all non-WWE programming. And then there's dark match commentaries. There's little news scoopsies or previews as well that happen there. So go check it out. Select is fantastic, and you can get all that extra content for $5. There's rewards, also physical rewards. There's so much stuff. It's just, look, I'm already out of breath just thinking about it. So that's one thing, right? That's one thing. And that'll be it for this week. So I'm sort of thinking, no, that's not right. That's false. Well, actually, I'll be recording an episode of Revisionist Booking with my buddy RJ. He graciously invited me on his show. We are going to be reviewing WCW rebooking, I should say, WCW Spring Stampede 1997. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun. We'll be recording that later this week. I'll let you guys know, of course, when it's out there. But in the meantime, you can go check it out at Revisionist Booking. You look for it on Twitter. And I'm very, very happy RJ's having me on. Should be a lot of fun. It's one of those WCW shows, isn't it? It's just one of those. So it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun to do. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, RJ's in the chat. He says Thursday. Yeah, are we recording Thursday or are we? I think we're recording Thursday, right, RJ? There we go. Oh, and Kristen Ashley in the chat also says that this weekend there's another episode of The Division on Fightful. The Division, which is the women's wrestling podcast that Kristen manages and takes care of and hosts. And so there'll be a new episode up this weekend as well. Crazy stuff happening. Lots of stuff going on. Even if it's not WrestleMania week anymore. Man, WrestleMania. Wow. Okay, and we are recording, by the way. RJ confirms we're recording. So I'll just follow me on Twitter at Mr. Warren Hayes if you're not already. And you'll know when all this good shit starts popping up. You'll find out immediately. Just be there. So WrestleMania happened, right? It was a big show. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a good. I thought it was a good show. I thought I thought the good really outweighed the not so good, and I don't want to say bad. I don't think there was anything really terrible. I thought that. Well, of course, Kofi winning the title is quite possibly it is the moment that we will all remember from the show extremely fondly, and that we are going to talk about for years and years and years when talking about WrestleMania 35. That's when Kofi Kingston won the title, because what an incredible match. It was a solid result. It was the result that we wanted as well, the outcome that we wanted, and that should have happened. It was fantastic. I thought the opener with Seth and Brock, that beat down, and the where Brock Lesnar got Brocked, basically, like when Brock basically creamed John Cena and took out Goldberg really, really quickly. That was essentially it. It's karma, baby. That's what happened there. I really liked it. It was a perfect way to open the show. It got me fired up, got the audience fired up. We knew it felt like we were in for something special, and that's how WrestleMania should start, right? They should start off on a really high note like that. I thought it was a perfect way to start off the show. I'm thrilled to the gills. Do people still say that? I'm happy. Really, really excited that Becky Lynch is the double title holder, the champ. Again, there was no other outcome possible in my view. You really couldn't have taken it any other way. So good for her, good for us as well, because again, that is an outcome that we deserve, that should have happened. Of course, I don't know if you've heard, there's controversy over the ending. Some people, there's there's reports that came out immediately after that was not the planned finish. Maybe the referee was a little too zealous in counting the 3 count there. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff going around. But one thing's for sure is that Becky Lynch did end up winning, and that's fantastic. I also really liked AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. I thought they had a great match. It told a great story. But the two of the 4 pre-show matches, Revival versus Ryder and Hawkins and the Cruiserweight title, those were great fights. Those were really, really good. I'm surprised that Tony Nese won the Cruiserweight title. I really thought that they were going to keep it on Buddy Murphy and have him have a really, really long and extended reign. But no, and I'm a Tony Nese guy. I love the guy. I'm really, really happy. I'm still a little bit surprised. As far as the Raw tag title went, fantastic story that was told in the ring for a match that had no build up. The audience was really into it. Fantastic showing by everyone involved. I dug it. So I thought it was a good show overall. One of the better. I liked it better than last year's WrestleMania for sure. So, but if you want all of my more in-depth thoughts and also further analyses of the show, well, I was on the WrestleMania post show over on Fightful last night up till about 2 a.m. Boy, was I tired. But you can go check it out over there. I joined Sean and Alex Pulowski, and we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, feel free to go check that out. It really was a good time. Let's see what else. I guess we could just go ahead and jump in and start talking about the Raw after WrestleMania, folks. Why not? Oh, there's a lot. There's more people in the chat now. We've got CM Phil, who's jumped in as well. How you doing, CM Phil? And I said, yeah, I saw RJ popping up a little earlier. And then Anthony from Smart to Death is there as well. Robert Larry is here. So glad to see all you guys. It's always a pleasure to have the crew here. So let's get to it. Let's start talking about Monday Night Raw. The Raw after WrestleMania. It's always a special moment. And of course it has to kick off with Seth Rollins coming out with the title. He takes his sweet time coming out, walking to the ring. He's taking the time to live this moment, and with reason. Was a big deal. He comes to the ring. The chant is the audience is chanting, "We deserve it," and he says it's been not that the audience is chanting, "You deserve it," but Seth says that no, we deserve it. This has been a long time coming. He says that he feels like he was hit. He's hurting today. Feels like he was hit by a Mack truck. He says that after the show, Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar were getting in a flight heading to Vegas, which is potentially where the next UFC, where Brock's UFC fight is going to take place, isn't it? So basically, he says, they can go there, and if it was up to me, they can stay there as well. They are not going to be missed. Seth calls himself the reigning, defending, fighting, undisputed Universal Champion, and he says might as well start tonight with a challenge. And then out of nowhere, first surprise of the night, the New Day's music hits. That was very cool to see Kofi with the title, his first outing officially with the title on Monday night. I thought that was nice. It was good to see. It was good to see that. He comes to the ring and basically he says, yeah, that last night, was cause for celebration. Seth defeated Brock, and he says that his dreams would not be deferred to win his very first WWE championship. And everyone gets excited, and Big E does a full split. Big E does a full leg split in the middle of the ring. Now, I don't know, like, my legs are a third of the size of Big E's. I have no idea how he pulled that off. I have no idea how he does that. That's just weird. So Kofi basically is in the ring here because he reckons, that what happened last night with the women's title, the unification, a winner-take-all match. He said, wouldn't that be nice, Seth, if we had a winner-take-all match tonight for your title and my title? And Seth accepts the challenge, and the place goes bananas. And with reason. With reason. That's crazy. It was something that none of us really were expecting, and we all got really psyched for it. And boy, oh boy, did we pay for our excitement later on. But we'll get to that a little later on. Oh, Blaine says it's a lot of stretching. That's what Big E has. That's what you do to be able to do the splits like that. Oh, I see. Okay. First match of the night is we have Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, your new Raw Tag Team Champions, versus The Revival. The match starts with Dash Wilder connecting with a big elbow to Kurt Hawkins. I'm sure you've all seen by now the video of the Bret Hart incident at the Hall of Fame. I wonder if you saw that one video where they're carrying there's about 8 people holding the guy and they're outside of the little ring stage area and they're carrying him out, and you have Dash Wilder who's walking next to him, and he just wallops one right into his face. Ooh, he just uncorks one, and we're all like, So I was thinking, wouldn't it be funny now if Wilder's in-ring punch became something of became part of his arsenal, something that would knock people out just like that. But then again, WWE doesn't want to reference that event anymore, and understandably so. It's their house; they can do whatever they want, and I don't see why we'd want to give it more attention than it's received. So no, Dash Wilder won't suddenly become a knockout artist. Not with his fists, anyway. Dawson starts picking Hawkins apart, and then we see classic Revival / heel work, keeping Hawkins away from his home corner, far away from his buddy Zack. The Revival hit a heart attack. Back from commercial, Ryder finally gets the hot tag, hits a missile dropkick, broski boots on both members of the Revival, hits a diving top rope elbow. No, actually, Hawkins hits a diving top rope elbow, covers Wilder, but who kicks out at 2? Hawkins tries to play possum for a little while, pretending that he's pulled his hamstring or something. To basically allow for a quick roll-up like he did last night, but it doesn't quite work out as on the pre-show. Hawkins eats a brain buster on the floor by Dawson, and we get a combination burning hammer knee drop by the Revival, who cover Zack Ryder for 2.9. Double suplex is reversed into a double neck breaker by Ryder. However, Dawson avoids the neck breaker by hanging on to the top rope. He battles then Ryder into the corner. Hawkins tags in, but the Revival haven't noticed that Hawkins is the legal man. They hit the Shatter Machine on Ryder, But Hawkins rolls Dawson up for the win. And Ryder and Hawkins continue winning 2 wins in a row for Curt Hawkins. Is this going to be the new streak? Is it going to be the reverse streak now? 200 plus wins? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is a fun match. I thought the guys worked really, they worked really fast paced. I thought they worked a really fast pace throughout the entire match. I thought it worked out really well. Anthony from Spark to Death wants us to know that revival is actually a southern expression for jobber. Just so you know, make sure that Chris Spizak from the Speeds and the Benchmark Show knows that as well. Mr. Frez says burning hammer knee Mustache Mountain, right? Yeah, I have Mustache Mountain pulled that one out quite a bit. And yeah, there we go. Webby is here as well. How you doing, Webby? Good to see you. Good to see a lot. It's, you know what's cool about what I do here? I'm gonna quick parentheses, really fast. When I started doing these, I'd record them and then upload, and I'd record and then upload. Then I started doing the live thing, and of course, you know, you don't start with an audience, instant audience when you start doing your show live. You know, it does take it takes a while. And for the longest time, you know, I basically talk into a microphone and I'm essentially talking to myself, right? I'm just throwing stuff out there, but knowing that the chat is here and that I can sort of turn to them and sort of have like this minimal form of interaction, it's silly. You know, it's not as if I'm actually having a conversation with someone, but that connection is still there, and it's good to know. It's good to feel that that you all are there, and you're chatting amongst yourselves, you're talking, and then I can turn to you and it's like, hey, what am I missing out on? And sometimes there's a bit of that. It's like, oh, I'm missing out on something, and they're talking about breakfast cereals, and that I can't get involved because otherwise it'd just derail my show. But I'd like to be talking cereal with you guys. Maybe I should do a special stream at some point where we just talk about breakfast cereal, where we rank top breakfast cereals. Oh, that would be a good idea. All right. Next we are going forward with Baron Corbin, who comes to the ring. He gets a proper announcement, kind of like the one he got last night. Former assistant general manager, Golden Gloves boxing champion, former U.S. champion, former Mr. Money in the Bank, and Brooklyn's favorite son. He says that he's listened to people say over the past few weeks that Curt didn't deserve his last match to be against him, but Curt did choose him, which is true. He says he's used to people doubting him, and he proved last night that he was better than an Olympic gold medalist, and he wants a medal of his own. He says, I feel I deserve my own gold medal. And guess who comes out? Well, the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. And he comes to the ring. He's in street attire, and he wishes him luck. He has basically a t-shirt and a jacket, button jacket, jeans. And he tells Baron Corbin, he says, I wish you luck. Bad luck. Hits an angle slam, does an ankle lock. He's humiliated him enough. Good for Curt. It's funny that Kurt Angle, well, not that it's funny, but I find Kurt Angle, when he's in his street clothes, when he has his t-shirt and his jeans, it just screams dad. He just looks like a dad. I think it was hilarious. And I should know. I look like a dad every day. Anyway, so he hits the ankle lock. He gets a proper squash on Baron Corbin, a proper au revoir, I guess. But we're not done there. Not done at all. Not by a long shot, because some familiar piano notes resonate throughout the building, and Lars Sullivan comes out. He's back. Well, he's back. He's here. He's back because he had to go away, because But he comes into the ring, has a stare down with Kurt, hits the freak accident, then goes for his diving headbutt. I am so glad Lars Sullivan is here. Maybe not for the reasons you would expect, because I feel like Lars was never my favorite, let's put it that way, in NXT. I think he's a guy who has a great work ethic. He gives it his all. He's got a good character. His character work is solid. But I think he's kind of hit and miss in the ring. And I always when I talk about NXT on Fightful Select, back when he was there, I said, look, Lars wrestles a main roster style. He's ready for main. Let's just get him up there. Well, so I was glad when he finally got the call up. They haven't been doing anything with him as opposed to EC3, where they just don't know what to do with him. In this case here, Lars suffered a panic attack and had to take some time off to recenter himself. Now, mental health is, well, to put it mildly, mental health is a bitch. And I completely empathize with what he went through. And I am extremely, 100%, completely glad that he has returned and that he's put in a position that, I mean, look at the position he was put in. Got the rub from Kurt Angle. I mean, that's something. That has to show you that they probably have some plans for him, and that's good. But I'm really glad that he's back on that level. And one last thing before we move on. I don't, oh, sorry, chat distracted me for a second. I do not, I am not a fan of the diving headbutt. I've said this many times, and I was convinced that after Chris Benoit, the diving headbutt was banned from WWE. I was sure of it. Lars Sullivan started doing it in NXT. I'm like, why is he doing this? The diving headbutt has a history of being detrimental to people. You should not be doing it. Dynamite Kid ended up in a wheelchair. We all know what happened to Chris Benoit. It was part of the reasons why Daniel Bryan had to retire that one time. But I'm just the freak accident in and about itself. A big power move for Lars would be fine. I am, even Harley Race, who was the man who actually debuted the diving headbutt from the third rope, or the top turnbuckle, I should say. Even he regrets it. He regrets doing it because of all the damage it's done to wrestlers over the years. Don't do it, Lars. Don't. I know it's impressive. To have such a large man do that kind of stuff, but yeah, Anthony from Smart to Death says I have impressively vascular forearms for a man who only exercises his voice and comedy routine. How do you know that's all I do? You don't know what I do when I'm off stream, buddy. Blaine is happy that Lars made his debut. Let's see where it goes. Yeah, basically. What about Bigelow for the headbutt? Yeah, as well. Well, I don't know what kind of damage it did to Bam Bam Bigelow. That was Mr. Fress that asked that. But, I mean, the diving headbutt just has a terrible history of what it does on a wrestler's body. So we're just gonna keep it like that. And I don't like it. Next, we have Alexa Bliss in a welcome back match, basically, against Bayley. So the match starts off. Alexa mocks Bayley, goes after her. Bliss trips her up, drags her to the outside. Big right hand by Bliss on the floor. She slaps Bayley in the ring. They have a little awkward sunset flip spot, but they recover, and Bayley hits a sunset flip powerbomb into the turnbuckles. Alexa's head, the back of her head bounced off the second turnbuckle. That could not have been comfortable. She covers Alexa, but Alexa grabs the ropes. The match comes to an end with Alexa's DDT, covers Bayley, and wins as clean as a whistle. I'm all for giving Alexa a strong singles push again. I think she has a lot to give, but someone has to explain to me the value of jobbing out Bayley like that, because you can make Alexa look strong. All right, let me start this over again. What makes Alexa look stronger? A quick win, a squash win over anyone, or a strong match with a big win over a big name? Now, whether you want to believe it or not, Bayley is still a big name, despite how she's being treated. And this really doesn't, ultimately, it doesn't help. Either, it doesn't help boost Alexa's profile all that much, and it definitely doesn't help Bayley either. Now, I get it that they have a history, and Alexa's always had Bayley's number, but come on. Come on. And I've been saying this for months. The one thing that you have to be careful is not to pigeonhole yourself in the women's division, where you only have 3 or 4 top women, and that's about it. And then you're not building anyone. You don't have any credible competitors to challenge them when it's time to rotate. Time to create new challengers for them. Anyway, I don't want to get into it too much because this is just one match, and I get that it's it's a gift for Alexa. It's like, I think it's Alexa's first match since September. So, get her back in the groove. I really just think they could have put her in the ring with anyone else. They could have put her in the ring with, at that point, if you want her to win a squash match, get some local talent. You know what I mean? I really just don't understand the value of jobbing Bayley out. And I'm going to say something that I don't like to say, because I think it's kind of silly when things, but I'm going to say it. Look, I'm just going to say it. I really think Bayley would benefit from heading over to AEW. Yeah, I said it. There's something in the WWE system right now. There's someone in there, probably Vince, but there's something that is going against Bayley, that has assassinated her character since going up on Main, and has just been keeping her from reaching her full potential. I mean, I remember when she was in NXT and we were watching her, everyone was saying, man, this girl here, she's the female John Cena. They can push this one to the moon. Everyone loves Bayley. And not that long ago, I was watching some old NXT cards, some old takeovers. Man, the reaction she got from the audience gives you goosebumps. And I don't like to say, oh, this one should leave and go to New Japan, because I think it's always kind of silly. It's kind of stupid, and whatever the wrestlers can do whatever they want, and it's up to them. It's their career. It's not us as fans to decide what they want. But in this case, I mean, there's cool down periods, and then there's cool down periods. Becky went through a cool down period. I'd argue that ever since Bayley lost the Raw title, to Alexa, which is like what, already 2 years ago. There's been nothing going on. Yes, okay, the women's titles, sure, but I mean, look at what happened tonight. She's not even where was they didn't even talk about the team. It's like she went out for a singles match and got chewed up. I like it's like they try stuff with her and then whoop, no, okay, we're done. We're gonna, and she doesn't need a cooling off period after winning the women's titles and defending them like for a couple of times. I've always been a big Bayley fan. So let's see here. Kristen is telling me, oh, it's just a welcome home match. It's not that serious. Let me have my rant, please. Let me have my rant. Just going through the chat here. Sports and Things shows how you doing. Says, I agree. Warren, as with Sasha. Sasha should leave too. Hiya Stone, by the way. Apparently, Sasha is tweeting that she's not happy with WWE again. Okay. Dolphin Ziggler says, Bayley versus Sasha TakeOver might be my favorite NXT match of all time. Look, it's up there. It's one of the best matches, just period. Not even women's matches. It's fantastic. And Robert Larry here says, hey, Warren, who do you think will be the next Becky Lynch within the women's division? You mean as a grassroots thing coming to the top? I think we're... yes, and I did say grassroots, by the way, for those paying attention. No, like right now, I think, people have Becky's back right now. And I think we'll be satisfied with that for a while. I'm of the opinion that the minute that they give Bayley something to do, people are going to jump right behind her, because I will always hearken back to the on and off will they, won't they feud that Sasha and Bayley were supposed to have last year. That one time that Bayley snapped on Sasha, the audience exploded. They just went nuts. People want to love Bayley. That's the thing. It wouldn't be hard. Anywho, maybe I am reading too much into this, as Kristen says, but I'm so fed up with how they're treating Bayley. Is all. It's just frustrating when they have a sure thing on their hands. She just absolutely, she was lightning in a bottle. They brought her up and they just let it. She never, she not the Alexa Bliss stuff, the kendo stick on a pole, the this is your life segment. It just killed her. It just killed her. We get our first glimpse of Becky Lynch coming out with both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships draped. SmackDown title draped over her shoulder. The Raw title snugly around her waist. She comes to the ring, and as Seth Rollins before her receives some "You Deserve It" chants, she calls herself Becky Two Belts, which gets a chant from the audience, and it does have a ring to it, doesn't it? Becky Two Belts. That's a good t-shirt right there. You settle down. So Ronnie, she says, Ronnie and Rick's daughter were talking about their resumes, and I love the fact that she called her Rick's daughter because of the little controversy, when they had appeared on ESPN. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. When the three of them appeared on ESPN before WrestleMania, they had they had the name, like Ronda Rousey, and then like their title, Raw Women's Champion or something like that. And then Becky Lynch, the Man, and Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter. And that sort of caused a bit of a stink, and I agree. I also understand why they did it, but I do understand that, it's like, she's her own person, she's her own woman. I get that. And Ric Flair even tweeted out yesterday that, that from now on, in his mind, he is Charlotte Flair's father, which was very nice of him. He's such a big softy though, Ric Flair. He's a big softy. So the fact that Becky Lynch referenced that tonight made me giggle. She said that both of them were talking about their resumes and how great they are, and in comes this woman, walks in with nothing and walked out with everything. She says, I may not be the fastest, the most athletic person in the company, and then she takes a pause because the entire audience, while she's talking, are still singing her theme song. So she continues and says, but I have a pretty good theme song, don't I? I love that. She's very quick on her feet. I love it. She calls out Ronda, of course, calls her a weirdo. And I love, just with the Irish accent, the way she says weirdo. It's really the best. So she calls her a weirdo and then ends her promo. It's been a couple of promos, and this is just a minor critique here. I don't know, why did I do this when I was talking about minor critique? I think this is the universal symbol for slight critique. Just a little critique. I don't know why I did that. A slight critique. No, but I do have it's been two promos in a row that she's cut, and her conclusions are very abrupt. They just come to an end very, very flatly. So maybe she could just work on that, and it'll be fantastic. But I mean, it's such a minor quibble, but it just sort of just strikes me because she's so good on the mic. She's so natural. So she ends her promo and she's about to walk out when Lacey Evans' music hits. She does her little walk down to the ring. Becky is out of the ring. She's at the bottom of the the ramp. Lacey Evans comes up and looks at her, looks at both titles. She turns around and she uncorks the women's right. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Lacey Evans' work in NXT, her finisher is a right punch. All right? I hate punches as finishers. And Lacey Evans has one. And it's called the women's right. So essentially, she corks you with the right hand. You go down. It's finished. It's a pin. Either that or a coup de grace or a stomp or a spear. It's same level. But Becky no-sold it. She just turned around. She ate it. Turned around and proceeded to beat the hell out of Lacey Evans. And Lacey Evans fought back. They fought all the way to the top of the ramp. Becky even tries to land the disarmer on Evans, but Evans is able to squirm out of it. And guys and gals, I am okay with this first defense feud for Becky leading into Backlash. I think this is perfect. I mean, otherwise, you don't go back to the well too quickly with Charlotte or even Asuka at this point. It's a new face. They finally gave her something to do, which is instead of just walking down at impromptu moments, finally they're going to give Lacey Evans something to do, which is great. There's nothing but good stuff out of here. And I think they might work well together. It'll be interesting to see. How long has it been since Lacey Evans has actually wrestled, though? We'll see here. But we'll see. What do you guys think about Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch in the chat? Let me know. Evans was always in NXT. I found was I thought she was good, but that she was still a little rough around the edges. But you put her in programs, it's like anything else. You put these any type of wrestler with wrestlers that have more experience, more skill, whatever you want to call it. You put them together in the ring, and they'll learn, they'll pick up, and everyone's game then elevates. It's good for everyone. So, I'm pretty sure, I haven't seen any real, I didn't skim through my Twitter timeline regarding the regarding Lacey Evans versus Becky Lynch being the first feud, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are extremely disappointed about it, but I'm okay with it. Why not? We often ask for freshness, new things, right? We want new people, new faces. Well, there you go. Anthony and Sports and Things say it's fresh, certified fresh. CM Phil says this was a surprisingly good segment. Props to Lacey Evans. Jay King, how you doing, by the way? Says props to Lacey for fighting in heels. Dolphin Ziggler wants to know, is that a Jesus statue in the back? I have one of Jesus playing baseball with his children. It is. It is Jesus. It is a dancing Jesus. You see? He's actually, and this is actually the backdrop of the 12 apostles in a conga line. So basically you have Jesus dancing. Kind of like he's doing the, it looks like he's doing the Carlton. Wouldn't you say the Carlton Banks? That is exactly what I have here. And something else that I have here is my official Smart to Death sticker, which you can get by becoming a patron of Smart to Death. Follow the guys at smarttodeath.com. Find them everywhere on social media. They're everywhere. God damn it. You can't escape them. And Robert Larry adds, the WWE must improve the entire women's division in the WWE. Fresh faces to challenge Becky would be a first. Well, there's fresh faces, but there's also faces that we could elevate to that status as well. You know, Ember Moon, we saw her this weekend at Mania. She's cleared. She'll be back, so that's good. We have Ruby Riott as well that could also benefit. I mean, we're fresh faces being elevated. That'd be fantastic. And don't forget Nikki Cross. Look, sign me up for Becky Lynch versus Nikki Cross. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Aleister Black and Ricochet are next, and they have decided to have a match against Chad Gable and Bobby Roode, who cut an inset promo, an inset heel promo, letting us know that they are changing their attitude and they are ready to do whatever has to be done to win. And finally, they're turning Bobby Roode heel. They should have turned him heel when he was a single guy, and that would have been much more beneficial. This was an okay match. There's a lot of back and forth to start. That ends with Black doing the his sit down between he and Gable. However, when they stand back up, Gable hits a chop right into the throat of Aleister Black. That gives him the advantage. So Roode and Gable go work Aleister over. However, Aleister does fight back, tags Ricochet in, and they do their combination knee strike drop kick moves. Meteora by Black on the outside on Gable, followed by a springboard moonsault to Roode on the floor by Ricochet, was really cool. Roode gets back in control, tags Gable in, but Ricochet fights back, boots Gable to the outside, runs the ropes, and Roode lowers the top rope. So Ricochet tumbles to the floor. Back from commercial, Gable overhead throws Ricochet. Gable and Roode hit a double team punch followed by a knee lift. And it's very, very clear, even if you hadn't heard the promo, that Gable and Roode are clearly working as heels here. Ricochet hits a shotgun drop kick on Gable and gets the hot tag to Aleister Black, but it wasn't all that hot. The audience wasn't really into this match. Combination attack, leg sweep follows, running knee, lion salt on both guys, covers Roode, but only gets 2. Black avoids a roll-up as the audience does the wave. He himself, Ricochet hits a twisting suplex, covers Roode, but Gable breaks it up. Ricochet goes up top, but Bobby Roode runs up to meet him. Some shenanigans ensue that ends with Gable pushing Ricochet off the top rope, who eats a spine buster by Bobby Roode, who covers him, but again only gets 2. Gable and Rude hit their neck breaker moonsault combination finisher thing. They cover Ricochet, but Black breaks up the pin. Ricochet avoids a German by Gable, and I think he hits. Does he hit a code breaker? It looked like a code breaker for the win on Chad Gable. I got to tell you guys, I think it's time for them to split up Aleister Black and Ricochet. We've seen them a lot since they come up on Raw and SmackDown. They've been on every show. They've won every match, or at least they haven't been pinned or submitted. But their matches are kind of formulaic now, and I think we see them as formulaic because we see them every week. Not only every week, every show. And then on top of that, there were weeks that we even saw them on NXT as well. I thought that they were going to split them up after Mania. I really did. Apparently they're going to keep this team going for a while, but I don't think it's a good idea. I'm afraid people are going to get sick of them. Because right now there's a lot of... It's just going through the motions. And don't get me wrong. It's not something that I say with great pleasure. Because Aleister Black is my boy. And I love me some Ricochet. Anyway, Rude attacks after the match just to drive the point home that they're nasty, nasty bastard heels now. And even if they did try to switch up their attitude, they're not going to win. Next, we have the Elias segment. He says that last night his moment was ruined by John Cena and his rap music. And this is a backstage segment. It's not the in-ring performance. And he says it was ruined by John Cena and his rap music. And he says, if you want to call that music. And I'm like, it sounds so 1990 as far as commenting on rap is. It sounds like I remember back then, there were lots of people that, well, is rap even music? It's just people talking over music. It's not really music. So it really sounded old school. And he says that later on he's going to be performing his rock opera. And I was like, okay, that sounded funny. Next, we have Dean Ambrose versus Bobby Lashley. This is being touted as Dean's last match in WWE. And it's against Bobby Lashley, who comes out. Rush has the microphone, but he's too upset. He's too upset based on what happened last night. He's way too upset. Bobby Lashley lost the title, so he can't talk. But Lashley takes the microphone and he says, don't worry, Dean. He'll talk. He says, don't worry, Dean. When you're gone, I'll take care of your wife for you. And he gives his lips a lick. And Renee doesn't like that. Nobody likes that, really. And neither does Dean. He just goes right for him. He loses it. They're in the timekeeper area. Dean is throwing chairs. He drives Bobby Lashley up the ramp, throws him into the LED screens. He cleans off the announce table. Lio Rush distracts Dean Ambrose, though, and that allows Bobby Lashley enough time to recover and to deliver a spear. And Lashley ends up urinagiing. That's not an easy thing to say. Urinagiing Dean through the announce table. And Renee and the refs come over to check on Dean, make sure he's okay. Thank you, Ambrose. Chants follow. When is Backlash? Like I heard that Ambrose's deal was up in April. Is Backlash in April? I don't know. Next we have probably the an early contender for the most unintentionally funny segments of Raw 2019 with Broken Mojo Rawley. Let's call him that. Broke Joe. Who's in front of a mirror. This WrestleMania was yesterday. Where were you? And the camera pans. And he has like, he's got, I don't know, what would you call that? Like a net. He's got a network of tendrils around his eyes, and the mirror he had been cutting those promos in is now shattered. I think these are all signs that Mojo's lost his mind. Oh, I don't know what they're doing with that, but it just got really dumb. Bob Aruski, how you doing? He says Broke Joe as well. Mr. Fred says Ascension Mojo. Solomon Crojo. Oh, I can't. I'm at a point right now as far as Mojo Rawley goes. This thing here tonight. Now I'm interested, but for all the wrong reasons. I am just ready to have a blast laughing at it. Next, we have Sami Zayn, who returns to WWE. I had posited was why did they not wait just 1 week and have him come back in Montreal? Have him have the hero's welcome. Well, found out towards the end why. He comes to the ring. He says, "My schedule is wide open. I know it's hard to believe I just come back, but I could go for a match right now. Anyone in the back want to come and fight? Sami Zayn? Anyone want to come in and like give Sami Zayn a fight? I'm ready for it." Really cool. He comes back ready for a fight. I missed Sami Zayn. I really did. I really do. And it's Finn Balor who answers this challenge. Intercontinental Champion wearing the blue tights. What do you guys think? Is he going to SmackDown? There's a lot of rumors that with the Superstar shakeup next week, that Finn Balor is going to end up on SmackDown. I don't know what you folks think. If you ask this boy, I think it's the best thing to do. He's been on Raw way too long, and there are people over there on SmackDown Live that he hasn't fought yet. We could have some fantastic matches. Of course, if they all end up switching brands, then it's moot point, right? But no, I definitely dig that. So basically, we have a match, and it's for the IC title. There's some back and forth to start, some takedowns and grappling. Sami gets tossed around. Finn tosses Sami to the outside. He runs for the dive, but Sami avoids it. Sami himself goes for a dive. Finn moves out of the way on the outside. So instead of actually diving through to the floor, Sami springboards off the top rope and busts a move. There's some more arm work, and Sami is in control. Some chops from on Finn. He Irish whips Finn into the ropes, but Finn connects with the basement dropkick. Double stomp by Finn follows. Sami does his rope walk, but Finn dodges it, and Sami eats an overhead kick. Back from commercial, Finn avoids a blue thunder bomb. He runs the ropes, and then he eats a blue thunder bomb. Sami seems surprised to have hit it, which is weird, but covers Finn and gets, but Finn kicks out at 2.9. Finn gets back up, hits a shotgun dropkick. The coup de grace is missed as Sami rolls out of the way, who instead hits an exploder suplex into the turnbuckle. Goes for the haluva kick, which Finn moves out of the way from. And he hits the coup de grace for the win. Welcome back, Sami. And Sami's in the ring. He's alone. He's disappointed. And he says, I really thought that this would cure what ails me. But all it did was reinforce what I've realized over the last 9 months. It genuinely seems like you missed me. The audience does reciprocate. But I can honestly say, this is Sammy talking, of course. I can honestly say that I did not miss any of this or any one of you. So it turns out that WWE is a toxic environment, and it's not because of the people backstage. It's because of this audience and your ugliness. So yes, folks, Sami Zayn cut a "You People" promo. Your lives are meaningless. You only get joy out of being critics because it's the only thing that gives you any sense of self-importance, which is true. Because that's basically what I do. And if I didn't have this, I wouldn't. Honestly, I don't have a personality outside of what I do here. It says, none of you have the balls to look inside yourself. Sami Zayn is going to come out here each and every week and hold each and every one of you accountable. And then he ends his promo saying, see you in hell. And he drops his mic and he walks away. I posited on Twitter that Sami should with the Superstar Shakeup should end up on SmackDown Live, or at least on the same show as Daniel Bryan, and they should form a stable. I mean, this the only thing that really irked me. Like if they okay, let me start over. I'm trying to say 7 things at once, and that's not how language works. The main thing that bugged me about this promo is how similar it sounds to Daniel Bryan. Because it's the same intention. Sami feels superior. He feels above the audience for very ethical reasons, right? So if they don't merge Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn together into a group, well, we're going to get 2 very similar types of heels on both brands, or anyway, it would make much sense for if this is the character that they want to roll with regarding Sami Zayn, to put him with Bryan and have a nice little trio going. I'd really like that. So there we go. I'm just going to check here in the chat. Maven Glean, how you doing, by the way? I'm calling it now with the You People promos. He joins Daniel Bryan as a part of what I'm calling a club, the Planets Club. And J.S. Brown, how you doing now? Also says the Planeteers, which is also pretty funny. The Planeteers, I like that name. So there we go. Angry Ginger Vegan, says Bob Baruski. Next we go backstage and we have Dana Brooke, who wants to make a declarative statement. Dana Brooke wants to make a declarative statement. That is Ronda Rousey writing her promos now? Jesus. What wrestler comes up and says, hey, did you read my communique? I have a few notes here on my scroll. Oh! But basically, you know, she says that she wants to angle herself into position, and I'm okay with this. I think it's good. There's still a groundswell of support for Dana Brooke. And good on WWE if they're keeping their ear to the ground and seeing where this goes. But they have to... Dana's promo work just needs a little more. It has to come off as more natural. Like it just comes across like she's reading her, like she's reading text. There's some work to be done there, but I mean that's all right. Now Elias is out, and he says that John Cena robbed us all of an Elias moment again this year. And he says John Cena is writing his coattails because of his stupid rap music. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I was 100% sure that Elias was going to dig deep with his guitar, and I thought that he was going to pull out this old tune from the West Texas Rednecks right here.
It's time for the debut of I Hate Rap.
That's right.
I like country music. I love country girls. I like Willie Nelson. And don't forget about Merle. There's only one thing that I hate, 'cause it's a bunch of crap.
Say it with me. I hate rap. All right.
I like NASCAR racing. Richard Petty's still the king.
Then it becomes a parody of itself. All right. I really thought he was going to pull that one out. And I would have popped hard. But instead he says, I'm going to do a rap myself, since he's in Brooklyn. He says, I'm going to, I'll do a rap here. It's not that hard. Of course, that it gets boozed nonetheless. But, pulling out that one would have been fantastic. I really would have, I would have loved that. Rest in peace, Kurt Hennig. Thank you for that. So basically he performs a rap in Thugonomics style. I like the line where he says, where he does the holding up 3 fingers, John Cena, this one is for you. And he says, the next man to interrupt me is a dead man. Wink, wink. Of course, then what happens? Well, we chew up 15 minutes of Raw with Undertaker coming to the ring. It was fine. It was fine. it was okay. But this is okay. The Undertaker eventually gets to the ring, and then he Elias tries to slink away at first, but then he's like, you know what? No, wait a minute. Undertaker, I'm gonna try. He takes his gear off, and he's like, and he goes to attack Taker, but he eats a boot instead, a choke slam and tombstone. That's it. Look, Elias, his entire character works really, really well, because of his self-importance, right? So to have him be on WrestleMania and having a segment with John Cena, then the very next night with Undertaker, management really like him. I mean, there's no two ways about it. These are big time moments that he's getting, and they just don't do it with anyone. So good for him. Good for him. There's a lot of people. Are there really some people who didn't realize that this was actually a song from WCW back in the day? Yeah, back when it was Master P and the No Limit Soldiers who were invading well, they weren't invading, but they were a part of WCW, and here's the funny thing. Here's the quick side note here. Master P, who was a rapper back in the 90s, for those of you who might not remember or know, it's not as if his career was all that extensive. He had joined WCW and was actually a talent. He would actually wrestle. And he had been brought in, and they were baby faces. And Kurt Hennig had a stable of wrestlers called the West Texas Rednecks, which included Bobby Duncombe Jr. and a couple of other guys. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Probably Barry Windham. And they were cowboys, and they were the heels in this situation. But what WCW failed to completely grasp here was listen to or understand who their audience was, because WCW was rooted in the South, and a lot of the audience were, well, white dudes. The whole rap thing, they didn't care for it much. So when the West Texas Rednecks did the I Hate Rap song, it was meant to be a heel thing, but it actually caught on, and it became really, really popular. And they actually did like radio station tours. It caught on really, really well. They even have footage of, I think we saw it in the clip there. You had footage of the guys in a tour bus, you know, going around performing the song. And most of the guys couldn't play instruments. That's the funniest thing. You know, Kurt Hennig, God bless him, did the vocals, but he wasn't much of a singer himself either. That was a funny story. So there we go. It was Barry Windham and Kendall. And Virgil was in the West Texas Rednecks too, Chad? Really? But I'm right on Bobby Duncombe Jr., right? Or was it just Barry and Kendall? Anyway, all right. That's fine. It was just an anecdote anyway. We're on to the main event now. Seth Rollins versus Kofi Kingston. Starts off hot. The crowd is into this. And why wouldn't you be into this? Rollins takes Kofi down with a headlock. He runs the ropes. Kofi leapfrogs, hits his spinning back elbow, and they start reversing out of their finishers. The crowd gets excited. Back from commercial, Seth and Kofi trade some strikes. Kofi does a springboard off the top rope, and Seth drop kicks him out of the air. The stomp is reversed into a pin for 2. Kofi DDTs Seth and covers him again for 2. Seth gets tossed to the outside, but then the Bar appear out of nowhere and go after Kofi, which forces the DQ. I guess Kofi Kingston wins. And so they start beating him up, but if Seth comes in and helps Kofi out, and the champs fight off Sheamus and Cesaro. And then holla holla playa, we get a tag team match, an impromptu tag team match, and Seth says, Kofi, we'll finish this another time, to instant boos from the audience. And we have ourselves Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins versus the Bar then. And the crowd is not into this. They chant bullshit on this with reason. Of course it's bullshit. Sheamus slams Kofi into the barricade. They hit the Bar hit a double team backbreaker. Seth eventually fights away from the Bar and gets the hot tag to Kofi. Comes in with some chops on Sheamus, a drop kick, flying clothesline, hits his double leg drop. But the audience is not reacting to this like they should be, because the air has been taken out of the room at this point. Sheamus ducks the Trouble in Paradise, but the SOS connects. Cesaro is in to break up the pinfall attempt. The Bar are on the outside and they catch the Kofi Trust dive, but Seth hits a suicide dive onto everyone. Back in the ring, let me see here. Okay, back in the ring, the ref is distracted and Cesaro gets back in control. An assisted back slam happens, but Seth tackles Cesaro into the pin to break it up. Rollins super kicks Sheamus on the outside and posts him. Meanwhile, Kofi gets caught in into the position for a big swing by Cesaro, but he reverses it into a cradle for 2. And after he hits the Trouble in Paradise on Cesaro, followed by the stomp by Seth, who covers him and wins. Yeah, the crowd didn't take kindly to this, and honestly, neither did I. I thought it was dumb. I thought it was a super, super dumb move. And I get it. It's like, it's a swerve, bro. I get it. But, I don't understand. I do not understand how they thought that setting up a match that naturally people would be super excited to see off of last night, the two fan favorite champs fighting each other. We're unifying the belts. Look, I knew that they weren't, that neither man was going to drop their strap to the other tonight, immediately after on Monday. I knew there were shenanigans that were going to be inserted into this. At some point it was like, we haven't seen Roman all night. Perhaps, do I dare think that perhaps a heel turn is imminent? No, it wasn't. But like, I thought it would set up a feud. Someone would come in to beat them up, and we'd have new established feuds. Maybe Daniel Bryan would run in, but we'd at least get a match out of Seth and Kofi. But we got this instead, and yeah, I mean, like I said, I get it, and I know we wouldn't. The result of having a winner take all, we would have never gotten to it regardless. But this was a really weird way and a very bullshit way to do it. The audience was right to call it out, and it took the air out of the place. It was not main event worthy. It was not worthy of the appreciation and love that the audience has for Seth and Kofi. It was a weird way to finish an overall entertaining episode of Raw. I had a good time with it. Not as surprise filled as some other editions of the Raw after Mania have been, which is fine. Before the show started, I had tweeted out, because everyone was like, oh, I hope, call-ups, I hope Velveteen Dream is there. And I came right out and I hope there are no NXT call-ups tonight, because they, there's Alistair and Ricochet that are doing really, really well right now. And there's EC3, Lacey Evans at that point, and Heavy Machinery that they don't even know what they're doing with anymore. I would even argue that I'd to toss Nikki Cross into that crew as well, after what, jobbing her out last night at the Women's Royal Rumble like that. Pretty sure they don't know what to do with Nikki Cross either at this point. But we'll see tomorrow. But now Lacey Evans has something to do, which is good. EC3 still in limbo. Heavy Machinery is still very iffy. They won a couple of matches, but you can tell they're clasping at straws. So let them figure out what they're doing with the call-ups that they have already before calling anyone else up. And then, of course, then on top of that, tonight, Lars Sullivan's come back. We're fine. And so like I said, maybe not as shocking or as surprising as some other instances of the Raw after WrestleMania, but I still thought it was a good show. I still thought it was a good show. So there we go. So guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. I'm gonna put this one in and finish it off. I'm glad you all took the time to come in live here tonight. Thank you everyone once again for joining me live. And if you're watching this on your own leisure over on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes or on your favorite podcast platform, well, I appreciate that a great deal as well. Remember to come back tomorrow Tuesday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes for my live SmackDown live recap show. So there you have it. Thank you all very much for popping in, and I will see you next time.